It took me 70 years to realize what I'm about to tell you in the next 10 minutes. 70 years of getting it wrong. 70 years of chasing the wrong things. 70 years of missing what was right in front of me. I'm 101 years old now, and if I could go back and grab my younger self by the shoulders, this is what I'd say. But before I tell you, and I promise I will tell you, I need to tell you about the worst mistake I ever made, because that's where the lesson lives. It was 1978. I was 53 years old. My daughter was 16, stubborn, angry, going through that phase where everything I said was wrong and everything I did embarrassed her. We were fighting constantly about her clothes, about her friends, about her grades, about everything. One night she came home late, past curfew. I was sitting at the kitchen table waiting, ready to explode. She walked in and I let her have it. Every frustration I'd been holding, every disappointment, every fear I had about who she was becoming. I said things I can never take back. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "Mama, I just wanted you to ask me how I was doing, not tell me how I'm failing." Then she went to her room and didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of silence in my own house. 2 weeks of my daughter walking past me like I was a stranger. And that's when it hit me. I had spent so much time trying to make her perfect that I forgot to make her feel loved. I was so busy correcting her that I never connected with her. I was so focused on who I wanted her to be that I missed who she actually was. And she felt it every single day. That was the moment everything changed for me. That was the moment I learned the lesson it took me 53 years to understand. Here it is, the thing I need you to hear. The people who love you don't need you to be perfect. They just need you to be present. Let me say that again. They don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present. Not fixing, not correcting, not advising, not controlling. Just there, listening, seeing them, being with them. That's what people actually want. That's what I wanted from my own mother. That's what my daughter wanted from me. That's what my husband Henry wanted. That's what everyone wants. Presence, not perfection. But I didn't understand that for most of my life. I spent my 20s trying to be the perfect wife, cooking the perfect meals, keeping the perfect house, making sure everything looked right from the outside. I spent my 30s trying to be the perfect mother, controlling every detail of my children's lives, making sure they didn't make the mistakes I made. I spent my 40s and 50s trying to be the perfect church member, the perfect neighbor, the perfect everything. And you know what all that perfection got me? Exhaustion, resentment, distance from the people I loved most. I was so busy performing that I forgot to connect. My husband Henry saw it before I did. He used to say, "Claire, I didn't marry you because you were perfect. I married you because you were you. Stop trying so hard." But I didn't listen, not for a long time. I had a friend named Margaret. She was the opposite of me. Her house was messy. Her kids ran wild. She never seemed to have it all together. But you know what? Her kids adored her. Her husband looked at her like she hung the moon. Her home was full of laughter, and I was jealous, secretly, deeply jealous, because my house was perfect and my family was tense. Her house was chaos and her family was close. I finally asked her one day, "Margaret, how do you do it? How are you so close to your family?" She laughed and said, "Claire, I stopped trying to be their manager and started trying to be their friend. I stopped fixing and started listening. They don't need me to be perfect. They just need me to be there. That stuck with me for years. But it wasn't until that night with my daughter, that terrible night, that I finally understood what Margaret meant. The next morning I did something I'd never done before. I went to my daughter's room. I sat on her bed, and I didn't lecture. I didn't correct. I just said, "Tell me about your life. I want to listen, not fix, just listen." She didn't trust me at first. She'd been burned too many times. But slowly, over weeks and months, she started opening up. She told me about her friends, her fears, her dreams, things she'd never shared before. And I learned more about my daughter in those months than I had in 16 years, because I finally stopped performing and started being present. That changed everything. My relationship with my daughter, my relationship with Henry, my relationship with myself. I stopped trying to control everything, stopped trying to be perfect, stopped exhausting myself trying to live up to some standard that nobody asked me to meet. And for the first time in my life, I felt peace. My husband Henry noticed the change. One evening he looked at me and said, "Claire, you're different. You're softer. I like it." I told him what I'd learned about presence over perfection, about connecting instead of controlling. He smiled and said, "I've been waiting 30 years for you to figure that out." Lord, that man was patient with me. Here's what I need you to understand. You are probably doing the same thing I did, right now, today. You're trying to be the perfect spouse, the perfect parent, the perfect employee, the perfect everything. And the people in your life don't need that. They need you to put down the phone when they're talking. They need you to ask how they're really doing and actually wait for the answer. They need you to stop fixing and start listening. They need you, not your performance, not your perfection, just you. That's what I wish someone had told me at 30, at 40, at 50. It took me until 53 to learn it. And even then it took years to really live it. Don't wait as long as I did. Your kids don't need you to be perfect. They need you to show up, to listen, to be there when it matters. Your spouse doesn't need you to have everything figured out. They need you to be honest, to be vulnerable, to be present. Your friends don't need you to impress them. They need you to be real. Stop performing. Start connecting. That's the lesson. That's what 70 years taught me. Henry passed away 22 years ago. And you know what I remember most about our marriage? Not the perfect dinners I cooked, not the clean house I kept, not any of the things I stressed about. I remember sitting on the porch with him in the evenings, not saying anything at all, just being together, present. I remember him reaching for my hand in the middle of the night, not fixing anything, just reminding me he was there. Those quiet moments of presence meant more than all my years of perfection. My daughter and I are close now, closer than I ever dreamed we'd be. She calls me every week. She brings my great-grandchildren to visit. And she told me recently, "Mama, you changed. Somewhere along the way you stopped trying to fix me, and that's when I finally felt loved." That's the greatest compliment I've ever received. It took me 70 years to learn this lesson. I'm giving it to you in 10 minutes. Don't waste another day trying to be perfect. The people who love you are already waiting for you, the real you. Go be present. That's all they need. And here's the truth I wish I'd known sooner. God doesn't need your perfection either. He just wants your heart, your real heart, not the performance. I spent decades trying to be perfect for everyone, my family, my church, my community, and I missed the whole point. The point is love. The point is connection. The point is being fully there for the people in front of you. That's it. That's the whole lesson. Now tell me in the comments, who in your life needs your presence more than your perfection? And what's stopping you from giving it to them? Be honest, because that honesty is the first step. Now, if you'll excuse me, my granddaughter's calling, and I've learned not to let those calls go to